There is a certain type of woman a man doesn't try to control because he's far too busy trying not to lose her. Think about that for a moment. We live in a world flooded with love advice, seduction techniques, and endless lists of do's and don'ts to win a man's affection. You're told to be sweet, but not too sweet, smart, but not intimidating, sexy, but not too available. A labyrinth of contradictory rules designed to shape a version of yourself that supposedly fits what men want. But what if that entire playbook is wrong? What if the kind of behavior that truly imprints itself in a man's mind, the one that keeps him up at night, addicted to your presence, is the very behavior that breaks all those rules? We're not talking about outward beauty. Beauty catches the eye but is quickly forgotten. And this isn't about manipulation either. Tricks might work in the short term but leave a bitter aftertaste. We're talking about something much deeper, a type of energy, a presence that some men describe as dangerous. Why dangerous? Because it's unpredictable, untamable, and most of all, because it cannot be possessed. What does this woman know that others don't? What does she do, or more importantly, what does she not do, to trigger this chaotic attraction? Why can a man meet 10 seemingly perfect women and forget them the next day, but never the one who doesn't seem to need him? This is where most go wrong. They believe they must offer a man security and comfort in order to keep him. But what if I told you that what truly makes him addicted is a very specific kind of uncertainty? Not your insecurity, but his, a subtle, constant sense that you are a free spirit, a treasure he stumbled upon, but one that could disappear at any moment. The fear of losing you doesn't trigger anxiety. It becomes the engine of his desire. In the next few minutes, I won't give you cheap advice from magazines. We're going to do something far more exciting. We'll break down the mechanism of male desire and reveal the critical part no one has ever shown you, the quiet authority of a woman who belongs to herself, a woman who, within herself, is an entire kingdom. Get ready, because what you're about to discover won't just change the way others see you, but more importantly, the way you see yourself. To understand this energy, we first have to face an uncomfortable truth head-on. Most relationships don't end because of grand betrayals or dramatic arguments. They die slowly, of boredom, predictability, and a quiet erosion of admiration and desire. They die when one person becomes nothing more than furniture in the other's life, useful, comfortable, but no longer exciting. And the trigger for that erosion is almost always the same, the shift from privilege to option. What does that mean in concrete terms? It means you go from being the person whose messages made his heart race to the one he replies to tomorrow. From the main plan for Friday night to the backup in case nothing else works out. It's the difference between a man who tries to be part of your world and one who expects you to dissolve into his. And here's the million-dollar question. What makes that difference? What is that quality, that elusive attitude that elevates a woman from interesting to unforgettable? As I said, it's not her resume, not her bank account, and, cliché as it may sound, not the symmetry of her face. It's a specific energy she radiates, a frequency she moves on, one that men subconsciously perceive as absolutely irresistible, and yes, in a strange way, intimidating. Irresistible because she is authentic. In a world full of masks and people-pleasing, she is a beacon of realness. She doesn't need validation, she's already given it to herself. Intimidating because her happiness doesn't depend on him. And for a man used to being the center of his partner's universe, that's a real challenge to his ego. Her calm and self-sufficiency send a clear message. My world is fascinating with you in it, but if you leave, it still will be. This attitude isn't a threat, it's a fact. And it is precisely this emotional independence that paradoxically draws him in even more. The promise I'm making to you in this video is this. We will identify this energy, analyze it, and learn how to cultivate it. This is not about pretending to be disinterested. Pretending is weakness. It's about developing such a deep interest in your own life that your energy becomes naturally magnetic. We'll explore why the male instinct, shaped by millennia of hunting and challenge, reacts so intensely to this kind of woman. And you'll understand why, Being dangerously seductive has nothing to do with danger and everything to do with self-respect. To understand the source of this power, we need to travel to the center of man's inner conflict. It is a duality as old as humanity itself, a constant battle in every man's mind, even if most are unaware of it. On one side is his desire for stability, for peace, for a safe harbor. It's the part of him that wants a companion, a home, a routine that brings order and calm. It's the logical, rational desire. The voice that whispers, "Here, you are safe." But on the other side, a far more primal instinct screams, the desire for challenge, for adventure, for the unattainable. It's the part of him that doesn't want a safe harbor, but the open sea, that doesn't seek peace, but conquest, not comfort, but aliveness. It's the voice that tells him, out there, something exists that will make you feel truly alive. Most women, usually unconsciously, appeal to only one side of this inner duality in a man. Think of the archetype of the nice woman, the obedient partner. She is the embodiment of the safe harbor. She offers comfort, agrees with him, adjusts her schedule to his, softens his problems. Her love is a balm, and in the beginning that is incredibly attractive to a man. It's easy, pleasant. He feels like the king of a peaceful, predictable castle. No drama, no friction. His rational mind gives her full marks. But then a different kind of energy appears. She's not a rival in the traditional sense. In fact, she barely seems to be competing at all. It almost feels like she hardly notices him. She is a woman with what we call queen energy. She doesn't offer a man a safe harbor because she is the open sea. She doesn't offer him a castle because she's too busy building her own empire. She doesn't shape her life around his. She invites him in, but only if he proves himself worthy of being part of hers. Her love is not a balm that soothes him. It's a fire that challenges him to grow. She doesn't automatically agree with him. She shares her honest opinion even when it contradicts his. And here's where the inner conflict within the man explodes. His mind tells him to stay in the safe, predictable castle. It's logical, sensible, but his instinct, the primal animal part of him, is irresistibly drawn to the open sea. Because the castle, no matter how comfortable it may be, eventually becomes a golden cage. Predictability turns into monotony, peace into boredom. Meanwhile, the queen's energy echoes in his mind. It's not a constant obsession, but a lingering echo. The memory of a conversation where she intellectually challenged him, a flash of how her eyes sparkled when she talked about her passions, her projects, her life, a life that exists with or without him. Suddenly, the comfort of the castle no longer feels so appealing. Because the true spark of life, the real adventure, seems to be somewhere else. He is caught between two forces, comfort and vitality, safety and mystery. And it is on this silent battlefield that the true power of attraction is decided. So how does this queen energy manifest in everyday life? What specific behaviors express this energy and make it so irresistibly attractive? The answer is more subtle and more powerful than most think. Now, it's crucial to understand a fundamental distinction because this is exactly where many women go off course. Queen energy is not arrogance, not coldness, not behavior that hurts others, or a fake attitude of "I'm a queen." Those are masks of insecurity, imitations of strength that actually reveal bitterness. The real energy we're talking about comes from a completely different place. It is rooted in self-respect. Think of it as radical inner calm, the ability to stay centered and grounded no matter how chaotic or pressuring the outside world becomes. It's a calm that doesn't need to shout because its firmness is unshakable. This woman doesn't chase attention, she naturally attracts it. She doesn't seek validation. Her presence alone is enough. And her greatest weapon, what makes her dangerously seductive, is her boundaries. Firm boundaries, set with elegance and softness, disarmingly so. Let's look at an example you surely know. Imagine you've planned a date with him. You've been looking forward to it all day. An hour before, you get a message about, "Hey, sorry, something came up with my friends. Tonight won't work. Let's reschedule sometime." In this situation, the woman who acts from a place of need, the safe harbor woman, feels the sting of disappointment. Her first instinct is to smooth things over to avoid conflict. Her likely response, "No problem, I understand. Have fun. Let me know when you're free again." It sounds friendly and reasonable, but the underlying message he receives is, "My time isn't that important. My plans are flexible. I'm available and will wait whenever you decide to give me your attention." Unconsciously, she has just devalued herself. And how does the woman with queen energy respond? She feels the disappointment too. She's human. But she doesn't react from that emotion. She acts from her self-respect. She takes a breath, gives herself a moment, and replies with something like, "I understand that unexpected things happen. That's a shame. I was really looking forward to it. Enjoy your evening. I'm busy next week, but if you'd like, we can touch base in a few days and see if something works then." Let's analyze this brilliant message. No drama, no anger, no closed door. She shares her honest emotion. "I was really looking forward to it," which makes her genuine. But the second part is a time-delayed bomb for the male ego. "I'm busy next week." It delivers 3 messages. "My life is full and interesting." "Your decision to cancel has real consequences. You lose access to my time." It's now on you to propose a new plan, and this is where male psychology becomes fascinating and contradictory. In that moment, he feels a mix of frustration. "What do you mean she doesn't have time for me?" Panic. "Maybe I messed up." And above all, respect. He just encountered a boundary, gracefully but firmly set. He realizes she is not a backup plan. And suddenly, this meeting he cancelled so casually becomes valuable. Now it's something rare. And his hunting instinct, perhaps asleep, reawakens. This dynamic plays out in 1,000 other examples. When she doesn't reply to a midnight, "What are you doing?" message. When she's unafraid to express a differing opinion. When she chooses a night out with her friends or her workout session over his spontaneous plan. All these small actions, which may seem selfish, are in fact expressions of self-respect. And then he begins to understand that he's dealing with a completely different kind of relationship, one where the usual rules no longer apply. He realizes her attention, her time, her approval are not guarantees. They are things that must be earned. And in exactly that moment of powerlessness and fascination, his mind experiences a turning point, a brutally simple truth that changes everything. And there, at that crossroads of frustration and respect, the male mind short-circuits. The script he knew, the one that had always worked, suddenly doesn't work anymore. The comfort once offered by the safe harbor now feels dull, almost childish. The woman who gave him everything without asking for anything in return no longer appears angelic, but rather like someone who doesn't value herself enough. And the other one, the one who meets him with graceful resistance, who shows him with every gesture that her universe does not revolve around him, begins to occupy massive space in his thoughts. And this is the moment where everything changes. The man comes to a revelation, a truth so simple and obvious, yet long buried under layers of ego and social expectations. And that truth is, there is a difference between liking a woman and admiring her. He may like the woman who laughs at all his jokes, but he admires the one who challenges him with a smile. He may like the woman who cancels her plans to see him, but he admires the one who makes him rearrange his own schedule to spend time with her. He may like the woman who always agrees with him, but he admires the one who defends her opinions with such passion that he feels compelled to grow wiser himself. The brutal realization that hits him like a wave is this: superficial liking and fleeting attraction are born from liking, but deep desire, emotional attachment, real and lasting love are born only from admiration. Respect is not a bonus ingredient of desire. It is the main ingredient. Respect is the oxygen of long-term attraction. Without it, every fire of passion eventually goes out. He realizes that the woman who made everything easy for him offered a cheap kind of love, a love born out of convenience. But deep down, a man doesn't want something cheap. He wants something valuable, something that costs something, something that requires effort, not because he's a masochist, but because winning something valuable affirms his own worth. And then it hits him. A man can play with a princess, visit her castle, enjoy her loyalty, and feel powerful. He can be the center of her small, predictable world, but he only kneels before a queen. And what is the decisive difference? The princess waits in the tower to be saved by the prince, to be given purpose, to be validated. Her universe is him, but the queen waits for no one. She is far too busy building her kingdom, fighting her own battles, overcoming her fears, and fulfilling her visions. She is not looking for a savior. She is looking for an equal, a king to rule beside her. When a man truly understands this, his emotional compass changes forever. He stops looking for a girl who needs him and starts looking for a woman who doesn't need him, but still chooses him again and again. And here comes the question hanging in the air. How does one become that queen? How does one leave the role of the princess behind? How does one build an inner kingdom so radiant and magnetic that it changes everything? This is not a switch. It is a process, a decision you make every single day, and that process is rooted in the active construction of your own kingdom. This phase has nothing to do with him and everything to do with you, and it rests on 4 pillars. First pillar, define your mission. A queen has a purpose greater than herself. Ask yourself honestly, if love suddenly disappeared, where would your energy go? To your career, to learning a language, writing a book, fitness? It doesn't matter what it is, what matters is why. This mission is your gravitational center. A man who sees a woman with a mission instantly realizes he will never be the center of her world, and that very thought inspires him. Second pillar, build your fortress. This is your emotional, social, and financial independence. It's the friends who were there before and will be there after him. It's your own income, your ability to solve your problems. Being dependent on a man means handing him the keys to your kingdom. Third pillar, master the art of joyful solitude. There's a massive difference between being alone and feeling lonely. The princess fears silence because that's when she hears the emptiness. The queen loves it because that's when she meets herself. Enjoy your own company, go to the movies alone, travel alone, read alone, show the world that your happiness comes from within. Fourth pillar, carve your laws in stone. These are your non-negotiable principles. Write down 3 to 5 rules that no one may break if they want to be part of your life. For example, I do not tolerate disrespect. These are not wishes, they are laws. And hold to them, no exceptions. My time for my passions is sacred. I don't accept vague or inconsistent communication. These laws are your constitution, and here comes the crucial part. You don't need to announce them, you need to live them. When someone violates one of your laws, you don't create drama, you simply, with radical calm, act on it. And that action is often the withdrawal of your time and attention. And yes, fear will show up, of course it will. What if I set boundaries and he leaves? But that's the wrong question. The right question is, why would I ever want a man in my life who is incapable of respecting my most basic values? Your queen energy, your boundaries, are not rejection. They are the most effective filter there is. They repel the boy who's looking for a mother, the insecure man seeking validation, and the lazy one who wants a servant. And they attract only one type of man, the one who is not intimidated by your power, but inspired by it. The one who's not looking for a princess to save, but a queen to build with. It's fascinating how all of this works. We began in search of the key to the male mind, and ultimately discovered that the key was never meant for his door, it was meant for ours. The goal was never to become the object of his desire. The goal was, and always will be, to become the subject of our own life. The behavior that men find dangerously seductive is not a seduction technique. It's a side effect. It's the scent that lingers from a woman deeply in love with her own life, who is at peace with her solitude, and who has turned her existence into a work of art. Because the most attractive and powerful woman in the world is neither the most beautiful, nor the youngest, nor the most successful. It is the one who needs no one, but consciously chooses to share her incredible world with the one who proves he deserves it. Let's analyze that sentence because it holds the essence of everything. Needing no one does not mean being isolated or incapable of love. It means your happiness, your confidence, and your inner peace are not for sale and do not depend on outside validation. It means you know that no one is coming to rescue you because you are your own heroine. It means that if you were to spend the rest of your life alone, even if that was never your plan, you would still be okay, at peace, in joy. And when you reach that point, the second half of the sentence becomes magical. But I choose him consciously. When you don't need a man, choosing to be with him becomes the purest, most powerful gift you can give. It's not a choice made out of fear of loneliness, not a result of social pressure, not an attempt to fill a void. It's a choice made from fullness. My life is already complete, but your presence makes it even brighter. I don't need you to survive, but I choose you to truly live. Is there anything more seductive?
What you're really saying to him is, you are a luxury, not a necessity.
Now look deep within yourself. How many times have you made your dreams smaller to fit into someone else's box of expectations? How many times have you dimmed your voice, your opinion, your passion, just so you wouldn't be too much, too intense, too smart, too ambitious? The final paradoxical truth about attraction is this. The moment you stop trying to be attractive and instead focus on being authentic and creating a life that excites you, you become magnetic. Because energy doesn't lie. People are not drawn to perfection. They are drawn to passion, authenticity, and aliveness. They are drawn to those who are truly alive. And no one is more alive than a woman who is the absolute ruler of her own kingdom. So we arrive at the end of this map. But the end of the map is only the beginning of your journey. And one final question remains, the most important of all. Will you continue to be a side character in the movie of someone else's life, or will you find the courage to write, direct, and star in your own? Because for far too long, we've been sold a toxic idea of love, that love means sacrifice, restraint, self-denial. We've been taught to be less loud, less demanding, less complicated, to shrink ourselves in order to be accepted, to lower our standards so we don't scare anyone away, to conform in order to be chosen, but now you know that is the greatest lie of all. Shrinking only attracts those who live in the basement. Keeping your dreams small only makes room for those without vision. Dimming your voice only creates space for people who have nothing meaningful to say. The true act of love, the strongest and most revolutionary, is not for someone else. It is for yourself. It lies in the decision that you will never again betray the woman you truly are, just to become the version someone else wants to see in you. It is a promise to yourself to build a life so full, so thrilling, so entirely your own, that solitude feels like a luxury and companionship like a beautiful choice. Because at the end of the day, the goal is not to find the perfect man, but to become a woman so complete, so strong and so free, that any man who enters her life must be extraordinary to be worthy of staying.
So don't lower yourself to fit into his life.
Raise your life so high, so radiant, so bold, that he dreams of being part of it every single night. Here we don't deal in cheap tricks. Here we build royal spirits. If you feel this message resonate within you, if you believe in the power that comes from self-respect, then you've found your place. Join us and become part of a community of women who don't wait. They build.